Hello, good morning, everyone. So this is Moshe Shabbos Kitzese. As we know, Hashem HaKodesh said, Kitzese lemilchama aloivecha. If you were, should you go and wage war on your quintessential enemy, your bitter enemy, which is of course Yetzer Hara. Which has shavisa siourey, and you will capture siourey. The Yetzer Hara is, I don't know if the Ball Shem Tov said that, but when you fight the Yetzer Hara, the captivity, the capture that you catch from him, that you is the fact that you fight it. Win or lose, the victory against Yetzer Hara is in fighting it. Not only that, when you take a look at it, it looks like should you go out to wage war on your enemy, supposedly the Torah could have said, if during a war with the enemy you catch, prisoner, and you saw, whatever it is that the Torah says. The Torah says specifically, should you go out, should you attempt, should you initiate a war on your enemy? The main war against Yetzer Hara is initiating war against the enemy. You win sometimes, you lose sometimes, but you always win. If you wage war on your enemy, you have won already. The Yetzer Hara has to quote unquote beat you, but you don't have to beat him. You just have to attempt to fight him and decide that you want to fight him and go on. So, as we says by the Hasidim, Ball Shem Tov, we said already it's a inyan to eat garlic on Moshe Shabbos. And Ball Shem Tov's Chusot again says that whoever will wash the Mas Malka and light up 4 candles every Moshe Shabbos Kodesh is promised. We said it already. David HaMelech is there. He will not leave the world until he sees David HaMelech. And if he needs any kind of deliverance, the Rebbeinu Shalom, may the Sichos of David HaMelech protect me and deliver me in this specific deliverance that I need to get. And he's promised that Hashem Yisborach will help him. So what is required from you? Just see to it that try every Moshe Shabbos to make Sudas Melavamak. That's we said it already before. Now we can sort of get into Sipurim from the Ball Shem Tov, and it is through Rabbeinu says the Sipurim Isis from Tzadikim. It enlivens the heart for great motivation and great excitement to Hashem Yisborach. Now we need to understand that even when you just merely mention the name of the tzaddik, it already awakens the koyach of the tzaddik, the koyach of the Torah of the tzaddik, called the Sichos of the tzaddik, and the whole inyan of what this tzaddik was about just mentioning the name of the tzaddik already, creates, puts in action the koyach of the tzaddik and everything we said about it. That's what Rabbeinu says, Sefer Amidas, that mentioning Shmois HaTzadikim, the name of the tzaddikim, has a koyach to change nature, literally change nature. That it says, Ela Shmois Bnei Yisrael, these are the names of Bnei Yisrael, the tzaddikim. Ela Toldot HaShamayim Va'az, that's the thing that runs the heaven and the earth. In other words, nature. So, especially when you actually say a story by the name, it elevates the mochin, the mentality, the seichel, and awakens a person to avodas Hashem. So the story of this week, one time in the trip of Ball Shem Tov, he woke up in Chatzos Laila, to do avodas Hashem, and he saw that villager where he stayed was a very simple person. Takes a big siddur, old big siddur. It had not only just the tefillos of them, but the tefillos of the entire year. And he starts saying page after page after page until he finishes the entire siddur. Tefillos, Yom Tov, Hallel, Rosh Chodesh, the whole thing. With the brachas, everything that's to do with Yom Tovim, until the morning came. He spent a entire night saying that. When Hashem Tov saw this, he felt very sorry. It's like it pained him. This Tmimus Dikayid every single night, saying so many bracha levatolo. It's a big, it's a big no-no. Hashem Tov decided before he leaves, he's going to awaken this Jew to this Inyan. So he will save him from saying brachas levatolo. And so after breakfast, that villager gave the Ball Shem Tov some bread. He already decided to leave. He told this villager about how serious a matter that was, and the Brachas Levatolo and Lo Aleinu, the very severe consequences. So when the villager said that all his brachos were levatolo, and unnecessary, it's a big avera, it's a big oven. He said to Hashem Tov, "Whoa, my Rebbe, what will I do? I'm ignoramus. I've never learned anything. I never learned in my life anything. The simplicity of the people of those times, we cannot even imagine. He says, I only know how to read the letters. He said, I was an orphan from my childhood. Nobody could teach me. I just remember that my late father used to daven him to sit every day, so I'm doing the same thing. From beginning to end, I don't know what I'm supposed to, I'm not supposed to. So in the fact that I'm reading the siddur, I feel that, I do my duty as a Jew to pray before the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So the villager said, now, Baruch Hashem, you came to save me from Rachel Levatolo. My world is shattered. Not only that I'm working so hard to daven, every day I also will get punished for it. So the Ball Shem Tov heard this, the sincerity of this seed. He decided he's going to help him to daven publicly. He said, if I'm going to mark for you where you're supposed to daven every single day, he says, would you be able to actually keep up with it? And so says, I'll do whatever it is that I can. Hashem says, listen, give me a package of straws. And he took the siddur and he put a little straw, after the tefillah for Rosh Chodesh, and a bigger one after tefillah Yom Tov, and another one to Yom Rav, and he put simanim, the big one here, the small one here. Then the Ball Shem Tov went over with this villager, And so to make sure that he understood which tefillah is which and what straw, like stuck in the between the pages, so that holds. So Ball Hashem was very happy. And so the Ball Shem Tov went, he left. And a very short while later, when the villager put away the siddur where it's supposed to be put, it was knocked and the straws that were stuck in were dislodged and they fell to the ground. That's it. Now he has no simon. What is supposed to daven? What is supposed to do? Before he had no problem, as it were. He just said the whole siddur. Now he knows he's not supposed to pay the whole siddur, and doesn't know what he's actually supposed to say. And he was shattered. Ball Shem Tov said, there's severe punishment. So he was so bitter and sad about this. He ran very quickly to see maybe he could overtake the Ball Shem Tov. And he ran and he came to the river. And when he came to the river, he saw the Ball Shem Tov is crossing the river without a boat. He put his kerchief on the water, and he stood on it, and he floated all the way to the other side. So he started screaming and shouting, "Rabbi, Rabbi!" Ball Shem Tov couldn't hear him. It was the river is very, very wide. So he was so distraught. He didn't pay attention to anything. He had the same thing. He took his own kerchief and he put it on the river and he stood on it. And a miracle happened, and this didn't sink into the water. Actually, his handkerchief, was floating on the water until he came to Ball Shem Tov, screaming at him, "Wait for me, wait for me." The Ball Shem Tov heard somebody calling him. He turned around, and he saw this simple villager floating on the kerchief, on the handkerchief. And immediately Ball Shem Tov understood that he was zeicher to this. I mean, come on. Ball Shem HaKodesh could do this. Arizal could do this. Who can do this? And you have this simple villager, floating on the water, not knowing anything. So Ball Shem Tov immediately understood, that this villager was zeicher to this by his tefillos that were saying simply tmimisdik. He knows, he doesn't just do whatever it is, he just do it L'Shem Shamayim. And so Ball Shem Tov told him, listen, if you are able to cross the river this way, that I could, go back home and continue davening and praying the way you always are. Just don't worry about it. Just continue doing what you always did. It's a very important lesson that we need to understand, in the sense that we can many times find ourselves in a conundrum. What am I supposed to do? What I know that I need to do, I can't do. What it is that I want, that I can do, maybe I don't want to do. And I don't know if I'm coming, I don't know if I'm going. And I know there's a right way, and I know there's a wrong way, and I don't know which is which. The answer is do the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. Without Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu will give you a simon on what it is you actually need to do. But first of all, like this villager, or he took a look, I'm going to say the whole thing every night. That's the way I understood it. So that's what he did. And it was so clean, it was so tmimisdik, that at first, the Ball Shem Tov did not see the immense. I mean, at least what the story is. I mean, I find it hard to believe that Ball Shem Tov didn't see this, didn't understand that. But according to the story, this is what happened. One of the things we need to understand about the Sipur Ball Shem Tov is that one of the great rabbis, the great tzaddikim, was one asked about the stories that they tell about Shem Tov, about the Ball Shem Tov. So the tzaddik said, when you tell stories about Shem HaKadosh, you need to believe that either these stories actually happened or they could happen. As they used to say, anybody that believes the stories is a fool, and anybody who doesn't believe these stories is an apikaris, is a heretic. In other words, and you can hear many stories about Shem HaKadosh that, it's the same story in different version. Sometimes they're told about different tzaddikim. The main thing is we need to strengthen ourselves in emunas tzaddikim. Emunas tzaddikim is basically emuna in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? I don't know. It sounds good for some people. It sounds good for some people. It doesn't sound good. But why is that? What's the seichel? Why emunas tzaddikim is emuna in Hashem Baruch? The answer is, there are certain wisdoms, certain sciences in this world that are, quote unquote, for real. Mathematics, physics, aerodynamics. I mean, these are things that if you build a wing a certain way and power the plane forward in a certain bit, it'll fly. It's not a miracle. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it to be this way. But then there are many sciences which between you and me are baloney. Archaeology. There are all kinds of fantastic, intellectual, scientific, whatever it is, carbon dating, whatever it is. So what? This shoe comes from Pompeii, and it is, 2,000 years old or whatever, how old it is. So take a look at your shoe. Your shoe is about a year old. It's a much better shoe. Yeah, but what? What difference does it make to you that 2,000 years ago, that's the shoes they wore? So what? What difference does it make to anyone? It goes on and on and on and on. The reason why people say it's important is because it gives them pleasure. It gives their lives a meaning. Music, for instance, I love music. But music is something that either it brings you to good or brings you to bad. Chazon Ish says you need to listen to some classical music after you learn is not a bittul Torah because it gives your mind a menucha, so you can read, okay, beseder. But the ins and the outs and the this and the that and this one could do, Yasha Heifetz could do the Beethoven violin concerto this way, and Yitzhak Perlman could do it that way, and this one could do it this way. So what? You want to listen to some music. The main thing is to listen to music that makes you happy. They're going to listen to music that comes from the klippas, that brings a person down. Philosophy. The table really doesn't have, it's a brown table. It doesn't really have a color. What really is happening is that it reflects all the colors. I mean, all the colors come and it sort of like sucks in all the other colors and reflects only the brown ones. So you see it as brown, but it's not really brown. Wow. So it's meaningless. The shtuyot. It's very intellectual, to do all this mental aerobics, but it gulnished, silliness. Now, the Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world, as Rashi says in Bereshis, for Israel, for the Torah from Israel. Torah in Israel. Am Israel will learn the Torah. This is why the world was created. Which means, if you're a Jew and you learn Torah, you're Mekayim, the reason why the world exists. If anyone, or commensurately with how much a person actually believes that learning Torah is like being a doctor for Torah. Well, he happen to know a lot of different details about it. But it doesn't do anything to you. It doesn't change you in any way. To believe that is to believe that the Torah is also like a philosophy. It's also like archaeology. It's very impressive, but it's, if you don't believe that, chas v'chalila, you believe as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the entire world for the Torah and for the Jews to learn Torah. Shem Yerachim is also a theoretical thing, chas v'chalila. If you don't believe that learning Torah and Sarah HaKadosh Baruch Hu changes you, you're not pikaris. Because it means that the Torah of Hashem doesn't change you the way a wing can, take a plane up to the sky. And therefore you don't believe in the giver of the Torah. Okay, so we understood. The Torah is a mamish, is a real thing. Sarah HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a real thing, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is a real thing. So comes the question, what happens to somebody who learns Torah, who serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with everything that he got? Anybody who knows anything about anything in the world knows, in order to be the best, you have to have a total tunnel vision, total dedication to one specific point. This is what you do. I don't know if you're a guitarist, if you're a bass player, if you're a painter, if you're a sculptor, if you're whatever it is that you do, in order to be the best that it can possibly be, it has to be the only thing in your life. How much more so it is about Torah. It needs to be the only thing in your life. So what happens? How do you change? So we already says it changes you, because otherwise you don't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you don't believe in the Torah. So you learn Torah, you serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with everything you got. How does it change you? What does it make out of you? So let's look at it from the other way. Kodesh Baruch Hu is someone that can do anything. So comes the question, how can someone who can do anything, what would somebody that can do anything give you for doing what he wants? What's the biggest thing he can give you? Or give me a lot of money? What's the biggest thing an omnipotent entity like HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do in order, if you do what he wants? The answer is he makes you godly. A person already has something animals don't have, and that's the ability to speak. The nations, the Goyim, they look at the human being as the human manifestation of the animal. The human animals, the animals with ethics, with brain, with artistic abilities, or whatever it is. But basically, they're just... The Torah teaches you that a person is a human manifestation of godliness. You are born as a person, and your role in life is to strip away your limitations as a human being by learning Torah, by serving Kodesh Baruch Hu. The more you strip it away, the godlier you become. There's a proof for this from the Torah. Besides Vayaminu B'Shem Moshe Avdi, besides that, Yaakov Avinu came to Eretz Yisrael and he built a Mizbeach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, Vayiven Yaakov Mizbeach, Yaakov built a Mizbeach, Vayikra lo Kel Elokei Yisrael, and he called it the Hashem, the God of Israel. So Rashi says, obviously, Yaakov Avinu did not call him Mizbeach Kodesh Baruch Hu. He says, just, he calls him Mizbeach al Shem, the fact that he's serving Kodesh Baruch Hu. And Rashi mentions another thing. And Rabbi Seinu Pirshu and Chazal say, where do we find that the Kodesh Baruch Hu called Yaakov Avinu a God, a deity? Minayin shekroi HaKodesh Baruch Hu Yaakov Kel. It means that pasuk. Vayikra lo Kel Elokei Yisrael. So then you take a look at this pasuk, and from a syntax point of view, it doesn't make much sense. It sounds like this: Vayikra loy Kel Elokei Yisrael. It should have said, what you mean to say is a Kodesh Baruch Hu called Yaakov Kel Elokei Yisrael. Vayikra loy, who is calling whom? If you really wanted to be clear about it, you should have said, Vayikra loy Elokei Yisrael Kel. That's the way you should have said it. But it doesn't say that. Vayikra loy to Yaakov. Kel Elokei Yisrael means, what kind of a God does Yaakov become? How come it's not heresy to call a human being a God? Because what the pasuk is telling us is what kind of godliness Yaakov Avinu obtained. Vayikra lo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu called him Yaakov Kel. What kind of Kel? Elokei Yisrael. He became a manifestation of Elokei Yisrael. That's Emunas Tzadikim. When you do everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you become Keveichol Hashtikel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You are godlier now that you daven Ma'ariv than you were before. If you don't believe that, you're not Pikoros. You are godlier after you kept the Shabbos. If you don't believe this, you're not Pikoros. But I don't see the difference, because I'm judging it with feelings. And feelings are very, very inexact and rough measuring sticks. That is the reason why we are learning this Farm Tzadikim in Maises Vatzadikim. Because Shmo Mishutav B'Shmeinu, the name of Kadosh Baruch Hu is intrinsic in the names, included in the name of the Tzaddikim. You're talking about the Tzaddikim, you're talking about the Elokus, you're talking about the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The same thing with you. One of the reasons we don't have this impetus to really work hard and to really become what we can become, what we need to become, is because we don't believe in ourselves. Chas v'chalila. Everything you do is making you godlier. Let's take a quick look, B'ezrat Hashem, on the Sicha of this week, Sichos Haran, because that's what this Shir Motzei Shabbos is about. Let's take a look at it. Okay, let's take a quick look. Here we go. Sicha 195. Shnat Tafkuf Ein. This is the year before Rabbeinu HaKadosh passed away, Pashas Noach. In Mar Cheshvan, this is 1710. 1810, I'm sorry. Nichnasnu alav b'layla kederkeinu. We came to him at night the way we always did. And Rabbeinu says as follows: Mashan yosei machem, that which I do with you, udava kotel lefanei, it's a small thing by me. This, in other words, what I'm doing with you, you need to be doing. In other words, what he's doing with us, to bring us closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu, for him, it's a small thing. And in fact, we are the one who is supposed to be doing it. To be mekarev other people to Avodas Hashem. But he himself has a much higher avodah than that. I was like, well, I was blown away. The way it seems to us, there's no higher avodah than bringing Jews closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Rabbeinu said as follows: Amar yesh neshamas altiloin. There are naked neshamas. She'en yichol yikanes beguf klal. They cannot even enter into a body. The gadol rachmanus she'aleim, and the rachmanus that there is on them, gadol ve'otzu me'oid me'oid yosem alachai. The rachmanus there is on them is much greater than there is on people who are alive. Why? We already came into a body. They have children. They mitzvahs, but they have mitzvahs. But the Rachmanis on these neshamas, this naked neshamas, gadol me'oid me'oid, is incredible. You can't even imagine. They cannot ascend. They cannot go up because they don't have the mitzvahs. They don't have the tools, the kelim with which to do it. They cannot go down and manifest them inside a body. And he says not only this, as we said before, there's gilgulim, their incarnations in the world that weren't even or manifest themselves in the world b'chlal. The kavana is the gilgulim that they speak about in Sfarim that were revealed by the ancient Kadmonim, the Arizal and before. But there are also gilgulim. Arizal explains that where the neshamas that came out of Adam Arishon and of Cain and of Hevel, and Moshe Rabbeinu came from Hevel, from that part. Whatever that he shows, he actually illuminates in Sefer Gilgulim all these neshamas, is highlighting the neshamas. So, and there are other Sfarim that speak about Gilgulim, but there's also Gilgulim that weren't even revealed in the world. And also, a certain midah, certain characteristics that a person had, umitzad Gilgul, is because of the specific job that you have in this incarnation. Shagilgul mechav shelo midazus, the Gilgul compels you to have this kind of midah. She said that you should travel, go, I don't know, to Nepal, go to India, I don't know what. And It's not only that you have the craving to travel, but also that particular thing that you'll have the craving all the time, the craving to travel, but then it doesn't work out and you can't travel. What an amazingly mysterious sichos. The Nakuda that we are speaking about is, again, the avoid of the tzaddikim and the Sichos Haran, the Torahs, but especially the Sichos, because the Sichos is when you meet Rabbeinu HaKadosh face to face, as it were. It's not a Torah. It's not something that he, quote unquote, teaches you. He's talking to you. It's almost like immediate. It's intimate. First of all, there's the immense secret that he tells you about the avodah of tzaddikim, which is far and beyond just getting us close to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That there are neshamas who cannot come into a body, cannot be born as human beings, and they cannot go up because they have to go down in order to go up, and they cannot go down, and they're stuck. So the Achmanis of them is way more than like the worst Jew in the world. There's nowhere to go. They're stuck. They're like locked in a dark room where time is measured in millenniums. In millennia. Just as there's no time b'chlal. So first of all, to know about this, what a gewaldige asaga, to know that gilgulim that haven't even been expressed in the world. What amazing Rahman is the story about Ball Shem Tov, that they went over a place where there would be a frog there. And Ball Shem Tov went to say a bracha and the frog died. Shem Tov told him that the reason why he said this is a Rasha that was incarnated as a frog and was stuck in this particular place that people never go there. And the tzaddik, the Ball Shem Tov, went to that place and made the bracha with this. It was Mesaka and that particular neshama, this Rasha. And okay, now he doesn't have to be in the frog anymore. And it's a great rachmanas. It's a great fortune. For the neshamas are already there. The tzaddik knows about it and goes and retrieves that neshama. That neshamas are not even zoicha to come into this world. And the second thing that he tells us, which is astonishing, is about us. We take a look at ourselves. What am I after? I know people. I'm not talking about previous generation, I'm talking today. Over the Hashem, I look at them and I blanch. I'm like, where am I in this world? And Rabbeinu is telling us that because me, for instance, specifically for me, this Sikha tells me that because of the specific Gilgul, the incarnation that I am supposed to hold and have in this world right now, there are certain things that I want to do in Avodas Hashem, and I can't do them. That I want to marry this child that way, and it doesn't go along. Is that I have this kind of trouble, this kind of adventure, this kind of inability to do anything, and I try and I fail. And I try and I fail. For some people, maybe going on the internet, they can't. They say I'm not going to, and they go afterwards. Some people is watching movies. Some people's, I don't know what. Each one according to where he is. The main thing is believe in the koyach of the tzaddikim. That the koyach is Basically, it's a godly koyach. They give you all the tikkunim that you need. What is required from you? As we said before, do the next right thing to the best of your ability, and don't drive yourself crazy. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Why am I not married yet? Why am I not this? Why am I that? Go with it. Maybe it's called tizromim. Go with it. You will get it. Bezat Hashem, tmimizdik, yoshadik, everything and anything Kadosh Baruch Hu does is good. It's not always sweet, but it's always good. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Bezat Hashem, should be mezakeas, first of all, to a great week, a week of Besuris Tovos, of Yeshuas and Nechamas, and Tshuva, and true acceptance that everything Kadosh Baruch Hu does with us is latoiva, and it's in itself good. In itself is good. It brings to good. We'll see great Yeshuas from the Chomis, Yischus, the Torah Kedosha, and all the tzaddikim amitim in our generation, in the previous generation, befrat in Yischus Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Nachan Avem Kol Chochma. Hashem, we had a great week with Hashem. Kol Tov.